What is up, guys? This is SpaceKryptonite, here to bring you the history of a bot that has been around for a long time. This type of bot is the definition of tank. Ladies and gents, we are facing off with the Landships. So what are these Landships and what's the difference between a gunbed and a Landship? Before we get started, let's introduce you Tommyfoxy, the pizza lover, aka your friendly neighborhood moderator.
Landships were publicly documented on September 15, 2014 by xBrianNova. The Landships did exist before this timeline, but back then, not a lot of players recorded or documented bot designs. xBrianNova was the first to set the standards as far as defining what is required to make a Landship. Just as a disclaimer, all bots used in this video are xBrianNovas, so you can thank them for all the wonderful information on Landships.
Let's go more in depth on the functionality of the Landships, in which has one main rule. This rule is to have a range of 1,000 through 1,199 cubes dedicated to armor. Landships were quite versatile. With the old times having pilot seats, the main goal in mind was to protect the pilot at all costs. Landships were core to that mindset and in turn survives a lot longer than other bot designs. Landships' movement parts are often low tier wheels or high tier tracks. But don't tell me adding rotor blades and having tons of cubes makes your bot a Landship. I found several videos and searches and showing like a flying Landship. No, that, my friend, is an airship. A cookie is not a pizza.
Anyways, this type of bot was usually equipped with SMGs or plasma, at least it was before the maximum loadout, in which players were limited to one type of weapon per bot, excluding Teslas of course. The amount of weapons on a typical Landship had ranged from 4 to 6, which made this bot very susceptible to losing weapons quite easily.
The evolution and process of Landships evolved quite heavily on building techniques. The early Landships featured bots like the M43 Everest, which had armor packed together solidly along with platforms for weapon placements. This breed of Landships worked wonders against SMGs, but allowed plasmas and rails to do full damage since cubes were compact. The most common movement part used for this era of Landships were Tier 1 wheels. The mid-air Landships were hollow in an effort to reduce plasma damage. This building method made Landships appear even larger. This era was revolutionized to have higher tier wheels. If you're wondering why all these Landships have two-tone colors, trust me, it's not for looks. This is higher tier armor being placed around weapons and vulnerable locations. The modern Landships were centered around over-tiering on weapons while decreasing some tier armor. This didn't make it less tanky since players in the match often built bots with higher tier weapons rather than armor. For example, players in tier 8 often had tier 7 armor because the total value of your robot heavily relied on tier weapons and movement parts you had. Modern Landships were also much wider and had more firepower than previous Landships.
The final evolution of the Landship documented was the post-modern Landships. These Landships were a breed that made its debut during the release of Tanks Are Rolling Out, which introduced caterpillar tracks. This resulted in Landships utilizing tracks instead of wheels, since at the time those were the tankiest movement parts of the game. This allowed Landships to have more health and carry tons of weight without decreasing speed. 4 to 6 tracks were common for Landships since having any more would mean less room for armor.
So Tommy, what's the difference between gunbeds and Landships?
Gunbeds utilize 10 or more weapons, while Landships are usually under that amount. Gunbeds literally have a formation of a bed. The point here is that gunbeds are completely opposites of Landships. Landships mainly revolve around armor, while gunbeds revolve around large amounts of weapons.
The legacy of Landships has not yet ended. The full spectrum combat update has taken a toll with the tier flattening of armor, and new weapons are making the build meta constantly changing. Landships are consistently being built in the shadows, and will continue to be a part of Robocraft's legacy of bot designs. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video.
Let us know in the comment section down below your experience with Landships.
I want to give a big thanks to Tommy for being a part of this collaboration. Also gotta give a thanks to xBrianNova for the videos and documentations. Also want to say happy birthday to Ram, as July 12th, which is today, and probably not tomorrow, but if you see this today's his birthday. So say happy birthday to him, and here's a little gift for you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for all your robo needs. And until next time,
This is SpaceKryptonite,
and Tommy Fox logging out.
we will catch you guys later. So, Tommy, about that pizza.
Yeah, what about it?
So I kind of like ate it, all of it. So you think you can like buy some more?
Well, Jordan will pay for it. We are sponsored by Jimmy Jam Jams.
Oh, in that case, we might as well order like tons more.
Yeah, with an extra tons after tons.